We are going through today how to launch your podcast. What should your runway look like? What have we seen that works? And what are some things that I think you should try to make sure that you are giving it the best chance of success once you get going? First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about 3 weeks out. So 3 weeks out from the launch, the first thing I want you to do, it seems quite obvious, but it is start talking about the fact that you have a podcast coming out. So this can be on socials. It can be in your email newsletter. It can be via SMS to your friends and family. It can be on other people's podcasts. So if you're going to be a guest on other shows, then you would talk about your show coming. This would be in any forums that you're a part of or any communities that you're a part of. So this can also include things like if you're on Discord or Reddit or stuff like that, that you comment on things all the time, then this can be a really good place to let people know that you've got something coming as well. So it's not enough to just be like, hey guys, I've got this show coming. I hope you love it and you get really excited about it. They're not really going to get as excited about it as you would. And that makes sense because it's your show, not theirs. So you can't expect them to be super pumped about it. But what you're trying to do at this stage is create mystery. Okay, so mystery. So you start talking about the fact that you have this thing coming, but don't tell people what the name of the show is yet. I want it to be more gamified if you can. So you could say that I've got something coming, not even say that it's a podcast to begin with. And you could gamify it and be like, hey, what do you think is about to launch? And you could get people to comment on it. It would increase your engagement. You could do some graphics around it. You could do them just within Canva, or you could create a reel perhaps, or something that you put on socials, somewhere where people can actually comment and get in on the conversation, more so than I would probably not suggest doing it on like YouTube Shorts or something like that, because the engagement on that isn't the same. You're not going to get the same sort of back and forth. So create mystery. Once you've done that bit, you've created a bit of mystery, don't leave it too long before you give them more sort of clues, I guess. Videos of behind the scenes, of you recording, of going to guest interviews, of your Riverside sessions, of your graphics being created. So all this kind of proof. So meaning videos, behind the scenes, graphics. People are absolute suckers for behind the scenes content. And so if you manage to do that in the lead up to your podcast, you're going to have a lot of things that you can sort of spread to people, let them know about, to give them a bit of something to anticipate, to get excited about. I would definitely recommend some behind the scenes content that you share within that 3 week out kind of realm. Now, once it's been established that yes, it is a podcast, let's say you've created the mystery on like day 1, and then day 2, you're sort of doing some behind the scenes, you've got some graphics and things that maybe are showcasing maybe the thing that's coming. Then as you get further into that week, obviously people will have commented. A lot of people may have said what it is. Yes, it's a podcast. So you can announce a winner. So you can do that. Then you can do some sort of giveaway. But what you would also do is then start to get a little bit vulnerable. So vulnerability is really important, because this is where you can start to go, especially if it's your first show, you can go, look guys, I've actually never done this before. Like I'm quite nervous about how this is going to go. I've done a lot of work with my podcast producer, if you happen to have one, and I feel like it's pretty solid, but these are the feelings that are coming up for me. So share your feelings, share your failings. And if you do that, then you're going to get people more invested in the fact that you've got a show coming. Also in this third week, if you're planning on having a podcast landing page somewhere on your website where people can engage with the actual podcast itself, I would start, if you haven't already, building that. So we want to put a landing page, build, if you haven't already. So you can actually have that created very easily if you don't have a website. You can, if you have like a podcast host like Buzzsprout, or there's a few of them that do it actually, where you can have this page that has its own URL. You can just link it to that so that when the podcast is live, all the episodes are in there. That's like the simplest version of having a landing page, but it definitely doesn't do much as far as SEO or helping you actually rank on anything. So it's not something I would recommend, but if you don't have a website and you're like, I'm not going to build a whole website just for my flippin' podcast, then there is other things that you can do, but not really my recommendation. So now we've done 3 weeks out. We start talking about it on socials. If you've got an email newsletter, SMS your friends and family, let them know it's coming, or get them to guess, be on other podcasts, mention it on communities, create mystery around this show. Then you want to have proof. You want to have videos behind the scenes, things that people can engage with, graphics, stuff that makes it like an anticipation. Then you want to actually announce it, and you can announce a winner if there's someone that guessed first. It could be a giveaway, whatever you want. Then you want to get vulnerable. So you want to start talking about your feelings, the emotions, what's coming up for you, the things that have been going wrong, the things that have been going right. And then you also want to establish, if you can, some sort of landing page. What's that going to look like if you're going to have one? Because you do want to drive some traffic somewhere that isn't just the podcast players. You want to have it be somewhere else that they can find out more about you, especially if your show is trying to get them to work with you in some capacity. Now, let's move on to 2 weeks out from the launch. I'm just going to wipe all this off. Fresh board. So now we're going to go with 2 weeks out. All right, 2 weeks out, we want to officially announce the name. There should really be a bit of a hoo-ha about this. So whether that's a reel, whether that's some sort of fancy graphic where the name is exploding from something, or, just make it as fun as you can, because you only get a chance to launch your show once. When you announce the name, you want it to be just like a big party. So think about how you could talk about the show and announce the name in a way that is more creative than, here's my graphic, here's the show. Like, what else? Come on, give me something. Then you want to explain a little bit about what the podcast is actually going to be about. So you want to go, who is it for? Why does it exist? Okay. Also, why you? Like, why is it your show? Why is it something that you feel like you can actually add value for? And again, you want to tie in emotion here. So you give them the name of the podcast, but then you also give them the explanation. And this can't be some big, huge, just bunch of text on like an Instagram post where there's this big explanation. No one's going to read all that. Keep it simple, but I want you to get these things out. Who is it for? Why is it happening? Why you? And then the emotion around it. So how is it making you feel? How do you hope that it's going to make others feel? You must connect with the emotion of the person that you're trying to get to actually listen to your show. So really think about that. At this stage as well, it's really great to get the community involved and make them feel like they're a part of your launch. So this can be, again, you could shout out and do another giveaway. This could be in the form of, the first 5 people to comment or like this post, which is announcing the name of the show, get a free 30-minute consult with me, or get a shout out in my first episode of the podcast, whatever it is, some sort of way to get the community to be like, oh yay, yes, I definitely want to be involved. Give them an opportunity, give them a way that they can become involved with your actual podcast announcement. The other thing you could do there, which I've seen some of our clients do, is actually announce like a launch party. So part of the giveaway could be that they get to attend the launch party. The other thing that's cool about a launch party is no one needs to know how big it is either. So you could say, and I'm having a launch party, and it could actually just be you and your friends and your family, and you know, that's it. It doesn't need to be some huge launch where a bunch of people are invited. And you don't have to have it that the giveaway means that they can attend the party, because maybe that will be super lame, that you've got some random person coming to your family house, to your house, to attend your launch party. But having hype, like establishing hype, is super fun. And it doesn't have to be like this huge deal. Just make some sort of hype. Even just the way I'm talking now, I get really excited just generally in life. And if you can have that kind of energy when you're talking about your podcast, that's going to just convert so much better into actual listeners. So that's kind of what 2 weeks out is about. You're just announcing the name of the show. You're announcing what it's for, like who it's for, why it's happening now, why it's you that's going to deliver it, the emotion around it, and then some sort of giveaway, or think about a launch party, create hype, get it established, get people excited about the fact that this thing is coming and that it very well may be something that they will find really interesting. That's 2 weeks out. Now let's move on to the final week. Make sure, first thing I want to say is graphics. Make sure you have some things ready to share in that launch week. So I want graphics of the podcast. I want guests, if you've got them coming up, do they have individual graphics? I want reels. I want videos. I want all those things to showcase this is coming and it's almost there and it's behind the scenes and it's snippets from the episodes. Oh, if you have the opportunity to create a trailer, or if you have a podcast production team or someone that can help you, a trailer of what's coming is a really good idea. So you can do that. Trailer. I want you to share this stuff far and wide. Anywhere that you can think of that you should share this, share it. So as all those places that we talked about in week 3, I want you to do it again. And you should have also included in that second week, I should have included in the second week, talk about it again in your newsletter, so that if you have a newsletter, so that they're getting reminded. In 1 week out, you've got all the graphics, you've got snippets of the actual episodes that are coming. If you've got a trailer that you can put together, doesn't have to be Diary of a CEO level, just something that really showcases what it is that's coming. And in saying that as well, you can also then announce your actual trailer episode. So I do a separate video on what the trailer episode is. The trailer episode essentially is like 5 minutes long. It depends on how many episodes you've already had edited and whether you can do certain styles of trailer, but you can keep it simple and just have it be an explanation of what the show is about. Go to my episode, which I'll link, that talks about trailers specifically as to the kind of things that you can do with trailers. And this is the week to announce that that trailer is there for people to listen to. I like to have this kind of couple of days out. So within that last 1 week to go, couple of days out, the trailer kind of drops so that people have it there and they're ready to roll with it. Now, the reason I say for the trailer episode for it to be just a couple of days out from the launch is if you have the trailer episode sitting there for too long before the rest of the episodes drop, it actually doesn't help your launch numbers. So make sure, I just want to make this really clear, trailer episode drops only a couple of days out. And we will go into that next bit as far as the actual episodes dropping, how to do that strategically in a moment. The last thing I want to say is make sure that all the content is ready for the episodes that you're going to release within the first week. And we're about to go into what that actually looks like. So everything is in the back end of Buzzsprout or Omni Studio or Captivate or whoever you decide to host your show with. We recommend Captivate. It's one of our favorite podcast hosts. If you have that already there, then you'll know that you're set. And it's really important that you feel organized, that you don't feel flustered, so that when you hit go and the launch day is upon you, when you've got episodes coming out, you know that you've done the work, that the episodes are already in there, they're ready to rock. You've done your show notes for them, they've got good keywords in there, they've got episode graphics for individual episodes. So episode graphics. So the key here in this week is to be really organized. Have you ticked off every box that you could potentially, possibly tick off? Is anything missing? And once you're like, yep, everything's set and I've got a bunch of video snippets and I've got graphics and I've got a trailer that I've put together and I've got a trailer episode that I'm dropping just a couple of days out, then you know, okay, I can relax. It's actually a really good week to kind of get a little bit more relaxed. Now we're going to go into what actually happens in that launch week. Oh, baby, this is a good time. This is a very fun time. So I want you to, the actual day of release, good enough. Okay, day of release, I want you to share the episode graphic to the feed of any social channels that you have with a very excited comment to go with it. So this should be a big announcement. This should be a big deal for the people. They know it's coming because you've been announcing it. You've been talking about it. You haven't been shoving it down their throats, but you have been talking about it enough that people, even if they're tuning in irregularly, they know that this thing has been coming. So be excited about it. I would try and drop that at a time that makes sense for you from within your insights on socials, and also to your newsletter. What time is it most likely that you're going to get the best response from that? So just make sure that you check your actual insights into when you share the episode graphic. So share ep graphic. This doesn't have to be a graphic. It can be a video snippet if you have a video snippet that you haven't already used. Yeah? Cool. If you can, I'd also create a carousel if you're using socials like Instagram. TikTok even does that now too, doesn't it? Anyway, I don't use TikTok really. Yeah, so I'd share it as a carousel with like maybe an image as the first one, and then the next ones would be video. And then I would also test that theory on other platforms. If you're sharing to LinkedIn, then I would suggest probably not doing it in that format. I would just share like an episode graphic and then maybe later on that day an actual video reel. So that's the big announcement. That's the big hoo-ha. I'd also, if you're on socials, get in your stories like Insta stories or TikTok stories and things like that. Being excited, do a dance, whatever feels like exciting for you, whatever way you want to announce it in your stories, because people are going to connect to you differently on different platforms, in different places within the platform. And so, yeah, make sure you're kind of covering your bases there. And then within that sort of release day, the actual episodes that I want you to drop. Now, this depends on how many episodes you actually have ready. I always say to have as many ready as you can, because creating a bit of a binge is always a good thing. But I ideally want you to drop. So you already have the trailer out. Okay, that's sort of 2 days prior. And then you've got episode 1. Ep 1. That's obviously on the day of release. So episode 1 is on day of release. And we also want, if we can, episode 2 on day of release. So now we've got trailer episode 1 and episode 2 coming out on the actual day that everything's being released. well, the trailer's a couple of days out, so that there's a couple of episodes for people to connect with, but not all of them. You still want to be able to drip feed throughout the week so that there's other instances where you physically can talk about your episodes again without it being like weird or stale, because you've got more episodes to share. So you've got more video snippets to share. You've got more things that you need to share. So then we do day 2 of the launch. Then we want to go with Ep 3. And similar format, just a video snippet. This is what's coming. If you missed it, if you missed the episodes from the last couple of days or from my announcements, here's the things. Okay, so episode 3. And then day 4. Ep 4. And then we go day 5. We go no episode on day 5. No new release. This gives you a chance to talk about the fact that there's a bunch of episodes that people can connect with without you releasing another one, so that it gives people an opportunity to engage without being bombarded with more episodes at this point. Now, I know this feels like, look, why don't I just release them all at once? But trust me, this is a really nice method to make sure that the download numbers, okay, are a bit more strategic in that week. Okay, and so then we also ask here if anyone has any feedback. Anyone have any feedback? Have you been listening? What have you liked? What would you like me to talk about next? Anything that's missing so far? I'm looking for feedback because it's my first time with a show. So help me help you. And so feedback is really good on that kind of rest day, I guess we could say. Do that there. Okay, and then the day 6, it's up to you. I like to have at least one more episode in here in this launch week. So then I would go Ep 5. Okay. Now, the other thing that you're doing through here, check your stats, check your downloads, probably day 4. So download numbers if you want. Numbers. You can check them there. You should also check your ranking, your chart ranking. So that is on Chartable. And I would check that here. Day of release, screenshot whatever it says in Chartable. Just screenshot it. Don't have to share it, just screenshot it. Then day 2, check it again. Day 4, check it again. Day 5, day 6, I'd probably do that. Check it and screenshot it. Check it and screenshot it on repeat during the week. Now this, let me just make this really clear. This is a charts ranking. For the free version, I think it's just Apple Podcasts, so it's not going to capture everybody. It is a vanity metric. Okay, it doesn't mean as much as you think it does. It's all well and good to be like, hey guys, I got to the top of whatever chart. I'm, number 5 in health and wellness. It's a really good thing to shout out, to be excited about for yourself, to be in the rankings. But we've kind of strategically made this happen a little bit by releasing a bunch of episodes in that first week. So it's not something necessarily that's going to continue. You might start to drop off. When you go down to 1 episode a week, your chart ranking isn't going to continue to be high. What we're potentially, depending on the size of the show, depending on the size of your market, your social media following, your email list, there are so many things I could get into here about all of that and how it actually helps the growth of your show. But just know that Chartable thing, it's a vanity metric. It's something that's fun to announce, but it doesn't mean a lot over the long term, okay? It can be that if you're ranking highly, like we've had a couple of clients that they got a lot of downloads in their first week, even within their first couple of days, because they had other things, we knew how to grow them, we knew what their channels were doing, all that they would actually, they got into like Spotify Hot Pick of the Week and Apple Hot Pick, things like that. That actually happened from the strategy around releasing multiple episodes, having it be bingeable within that first week, and then Apple and Spotify saw those metrics, saw those numbers and went, oh, wow, this is a hot pick, this is a trend, people are really listening to it. So this can really work in your favor. This is why I want you to think about how much work you can do prior, as in recording, getting your content sorted, having enough batched so that you can actually release as many as possible. That gives you a higher chance of being in the charts, of being a hot pick. But I don't want you to obsess about it. I don't want you to be like, oh man, I'm not that high in the charts. Who cares? Like, honestly, over the long run, it doesn't make that much of a difference unless you're in the real top of the charts, not just within your category, but overall, if you're getting quite high in the charts, then yes, you show up on the main news feed, like the main page, and you've definitely got access to a higher audience count there. But don't obsess. I guess that's what I'm saying. Just don't obsess over your numbers and your rankings. The key to a successful launch is feeling like you've done it. Okay? Feeling like it was an achievement, that it's out there, and that now what is the goal of you is to stay flippin' consistent. There is a thing called pod fade. Pod fade. It's a very real thing that you hear people talk about. They get to like 7, 8 episodes and then it's like, oh, I've run out of momentum now. I think I need a nap. When they just stop releasing their podcasts. Pod fade is a real thing. I don't want you to end up there. So organize yourself, strategize, get your episodes sorted, do a proper launch plan, mark things out in your diary, and you're just going to be way more successful. You're just going to have such a better time as well. It's going to be way more exciting, and it's going to feel like more of a big deal. And if it's a big deal for you, then it's going to be a big deal for at least a portion of your audience as well. Keep that in mind. I hope this content was extremely helpful. Please like and subscribe. If you like this kind of stuff, please let me know, okay? Because I will absolutely do more of these breakdowns of things if you feel like you want to learn from me, specifically in the podcasting space. Okay, that's it from me. Good luck with your launch. Let me know how you go. I hope you do some of these things. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.